Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Amalia Diana Sari. I am from the third semester A class. Today I'm going to present my project. The title is Discourse Analysis. Okay, in the first slide, theory and basic of discourse analysis. What is discourse analysis? Discourse analysis is an umbrella term for a variety of qualitative research methods and is generally concerned with the study and analysis of language use. Discourse analysis involves analyzing text, conversation, and social interaction to understand how meaning and knowledge are constructed, maintained, and used in verbal communication. In discourse analysis, researchers analyze various aspects of language, such as sentence structure, word usage, grammar, style, and social context, and how language creates meaning, influences social identity, and influences speakers. Understand how they are used to form social relationship between. So, the first is discourse versus text. Discourse and text, distinguishing between the two terms discourse and text has always been a difficult task in discourse analysis. Scholars such as the Bjorkgren, Drisler, Halliday primarily use text in their research, while scholars such as Sinclair, Goddard, and Shiffrin use discourse exclusively. And the next is the types of discourse. Basically, discourse can be spoken or written, and both types have notable distinctive functional process. Spoken discourse is usually achieved through the process of the first one is verbalization, the second one is exchange, the third one is participation, and the last one is negotiation of meaning. The next is basic concept. There are 5 basic concepts. The first is context. The basic idea of discourse analysis is context. Discourse analysis examines language based on context in which it exists. According to Van Dijk, a context is a structure set of all the characteristics of social situation that are potentially relevant to the production, structure, interpretation, and function of text and conversation. Linguistic context takes into account the intrinsic or immediate word-by-word structure of sequence of sentence in determining its meaning. Discourse analysis must therefore rely on the linguistic elements, lexical items in a piece of discourse and how they hang together textually for interpretation. The second one is discourse participation. Discourse participants are visible, invisible, or non-person who are directly or indirectly involved in a communication. Even this includes not only the hearer, recipient, or reader, but also the speaker, writer, or signifier in speaking. The speaker and listener or immediate or distant target group from the participant in the discourse, whereas in writing, the author and the reader from the participant in discourse. Speaker and authors constitute discourse producer, which may be individual or group or maybe institution, and listener and reader constitute discourse consumer, which maybe single entities, multiple entities or group. So the third one is cohesion and coherence. Cohesion and coherence. Discourse is a collection of sentences that form a semantically coherent work. Therefore, the term cohesion and coherence is discourse analysis can be applied to the logical and sequential arrangement or structural element within discourse into unified whole. Cohesion and in discourse therefore refers to the relationship between linguistic elements that make expression logical and meaningful. The fourth one is inferences and implicators. In discourse construction, speaker or writers in discourse producer do not always state explicitly what they mean, thereby leaving some information implicit or simply unexpressed. The onus therefore lies on the discourse consumer to generate meaning, unexpressed but implicit in the discourse. The act or process of drawing implicit meaning from discourse with the sole aim or arriving at the speaker's or writer's intended meaning is known as inference. So the last one is presupposition. Presupposition are meaning constructs that provide insight into the connection between language and context. Presupposition refer to the basis of information that the speaker assumes or act as if she assumes in order for her utterance to be meaningful in the current context. In the next slide is language function. All approaches to discourse analysis deal with the feature of language, the structures of the text, and the relationship between text and context. The main function or language is reference. We use language to convey information about entities or people, object, and their attribute, behavior, and relationship, but language also has social and expressive functions, allowing us to let others know what we think about them or about other things, such as thinking, bragging, insulting, or apologizing. Can we also use words to convince others of our beliefs, prompting them to act by creating sentences that explain the logic and appeal of those beliefs according to Jacobson language function? He requires seek language function in order for communication to take place. Additionally, there are seek element or component of the communication process. Each function interacts by focusing on her one element of the communicating process. And the next slide is factor or elements include the first one is context. This is from the setting or reason for the message that will be communicated. The second one is addresser, is the person who delivers a message to specific audience. The third one is addresses. This is the audience that receives the message, must consist of at least one person but could include many people. The fourth one is contact. There needs to be a relational channel and connection between the addresser and the addresses. This connection keep the lines of communication open. And the five is common code, and the six is message is what is sent by the addresser and correspond to an experience, idea, explanation, and so on. And For the fifth slide, there is language function. There is 6 function of language include. The first one is referential function. Is it denotative cognitive function, which is oriented toward the context to show thing or facts. The referential function is the most option function of language. For example, the earth is around water bubbles at 100 degrees. The second one is emotive function. It is also known as passive function. This function focuses on the addresses. The function comes out when we want to explain our emotion, although we don't speak to give an information. In this function, we communicate for ourselves more than other people who hear us or not. For example, the interjection, which are words or phrases used to express sudden surprise, pleasure, or annoyance, such bah, oh, yeah, yeah. They are not component but equivalent of sentence. The third one is connotative function. The connotative function is an orientation toward addresses. This function finds it parse grammatical expression in vocative and imperative sentence, and it helps us to make people do something, and it includes order and prayers. For example, drink, go away. In slide 6, still in function of discourse, the fourth is pathetic function. The pathetic function, which sets for context, establish, prologue, or discontinue the communication. We use this function to know whether channel works or whether the contact is still there. Our purpose in this function firstly to maintain the contact with the person we are talking to. For example, hello, are you listening? Do you hear me? So in the fifth function is metalingual function. Metalinguistic is the function of language that is used to explain or clarify the meaning of the code or language itself. This happens when someone uses language to elaborate or give a definition of the particular word or phrase to help ensure proper understanding between speaker and listener. For example, the word perseverance means persistence and consistency in the face of adversity. Here, the metalinguistic function is used to explain the meaning of the word perseverance. And the sixth function is poetic function. The poetic function, which is orientation toward message and the focus on the message for its own sake. The use of language for artistic and creative purposes such as poetry, storytelling, and wordplay, but it can include more than poetry. Linguistics cannot limit itself just to the field or poetry. When we say John and Marjorie instead of Marjorie and John, and we say horrible Harry instead of terrible Harry, therefore Harry, which have some meaning, we use the poetic function of language. In the seventh slide, there is language from spoken and written. Now, we're going to the next slide. In the eighth slide, there is spoken discourse. In spoken communication, various process and language configuration swiftly collaborate to achieve coherence. When conversing, we pursue multiple goals simultaneously, including expressing thought, introducing information, correcting errors, taking turn, considering others, and performing aid. This is accomplished by utilizing different units like speech aid, idea units, turn at talk, and sentence. Speaker anticipate recipient needs to prevent shaping their speech based on educate guess about the listeners, drawing from past experiences and the ongoing interaction. The text amplifies this point by discussing two segments of discourse of spoken discourse from a sociolinguistic research interview. This segment illustrates processes such as the question or answer sequences, repairs of unclear meanings, exchange of short-term talk, and the maintenance of long-term where a story is told. The text also highlight how people collaboratively introduce new information into the conversation and jointly develop discussion topic. In the ninth slide, there are the spoken discourse. The first one is sequential and distributional analysis. Discourse analysis often involves two types of readings. Sequential analysis focusing on the order of events and their significance in discourse. And distributional analysis examining the occurrence and pseudo-occurrence of specific language features. In the context of classroom discourse, imagine you are instead in the use of sequential analysis delves into the details of specific question and answer event, revealing its contributing to emerging meaning. On the other hand, the distributional analysis examines all use of in the classroom, uncovering its relationship with different discourse elements, combining both analysis and change our understanding or specific moment and general feature in interaction. Slide 10, there is repair. In spoken discourse analysis, repair refers to instance where a speaker corrects or revises their previous utterance. It can occur when there is a breakdown in communicating and the speaker self-corrects to maintain clarity. For example, if someone say, "I saw him at the park," hesitation, respond the repair the speaker correct mid-sentence. Repair sequences in discourse handle mistake with two components, initiation and repair. This can be managed by the speaker or self or another participant on order. Initiation identifies the problem and repair address it. For instance, a speaker may self-initiate self-repair, conveying a fast-saving message like, "I know I made a mistake, but just a slip of the tongue and I can fix it." In the 11th slide, there is the third is recipient design. Recipient design is the idea that speakers tailor their communication to suit the perceived understanding of their audience. It involves adjusting language based on the assumed knowledge, expectation, or needs of the listener. An example of recipient design is when the teacher explains a complex concept differently depending on whether they are speaking to student or college, considering the varying levels or expertise in the audience. The next is comparing transcripts. Comparing transcript is crucial in discourse analysis. While tools in communication are often similar across transcripts, differences exist in how terms are exchanged. Recognizing similarities and differences is vital. Our daily discourse relies on general principles, and communicative competence involves applying these principles to specific situations. To build discourse generalization, comparing examples from similar and different contexts is valuable. It helps us understand the relationship between social features and language used in various speech situations and events. In the next slide is urgency pairs. Urgency pairs involves two-part sequences in conversation. Interviewers initiate conversation with questions. Questions are incomplete proposition lacking element like who, what, etc. This serve a speech act, opening a slot for answer. This creates an expectation for a specific response, influencing the interpretation of the second part. For instance, silence after question may be seen as a form of response. Expectation in urgency pairs help both speaker and listener organize their conversation, providing clues about talk and action. Missing second part can be unsettling, prompting a search for closure in the conversation. For example of urgency pair is greeting and response such as saying hello, first part, and receiving the reply hi. The second part, the expectation set by the greeting is met with an anticipated response, forming a basic two-part sequence in conversation. 14th slide, participant framework. In spoken discourse analysis, a participant framework refers to the structure that governs how participants take turn and engage in conversation. It includes the roles and expectations regarding when and how individuals contribute to the discourse. For example, in a classroom setting, the participant framework might dictate that students raise their hand to speak, the teacher serves as the central figure, and the students follow the established norm of seeking permission before contributing to the conversation. This framework helps maintain order and facilitated effective communication within the given context. And the last one is narrative. In spoken discourse analysis, a narrative refers to a spoken account or story that convey a series or event or experiences. Narrative are the distinct form of communication where individuals share information in structure and often chronological manner. They typically include elements such as the introduction or orientation of plot with event, complication, action, and assessment or reflection or evaluation, and a conclusion or coda. The analysis of narrative in spoken discourse involves examining how individuals construct and present story, considering linguistic feature, pacing, and the impact on the listener. So, we have highlight some of the way that speakers try to achieve several goals. The first one is introduction, new information in relation to the anticipated needs of their hearers. The second one is linking information through cohesive ties. So the next one is repairing error. So the last one is initiating urgency pairs with action that have sequential consequences for listener for next action. And the next slide is written discourse. Learning to speak effortless integrate into early childhood socialization, while learning to write involves a formal process encompassing graphic convention, technology, punctuation, and grammatical rules. Unlike spoken language, reading endures, allowing for prolonged examination. Written text forming cultural canons convey lasting wisdom and institutional knowledge. The influence of standard language, the ideologies backed by social institutions, often shape our reading style. However, diverse written genre from literature to everyday list and diary vary in standard. Despite these differences, all written discourse differ significantly from spoken language. There is two of the written discourse. The first, fragmentation and integration, and the second one is reading to be read. It is fragmentation and integration. A. Fragmentation occurs when information is segmented into small, synthetically simple chunks of language. Each segment typically presents one idea at a time. This style is characterized by a swift transition from one idea or talk to another. It reflects a more straightforward and segmented structure, resembling the pacing of spoken discourse. For example, in the bustling market, sales saw boys on the trolley, and Jesse and Kenny a lively scan. Trolley and Ken writes Italian market visit. Good memorized in the written example, the information is present in small, synthetically simple chunks. Each segment provides one idea at the time, contributing to a fragment structure. The reader quickly transitions between different elements, creating a snapshot effect without integrating the detail into a more complex synthetic unit. So the next is integration involves the arrangement of information into long, syntactically complex chunk of language. This chunk present multiple ideas simultaneously and often involves the weaving of the various types and level of information into sentences. In contrast to fragmentation, integration allows for the molding of group of ideas into the cohesive whole. This style enables a more comprehensive and detailed experience of information with a complex syntactic units. In essence, the choice between fragmentation and integration in writing depends on the reader's intention, the nature of the content, and the desired impact. Next slide is writing to be read. Writing to be read in written discourse analysis refers to the intentional construction of the text with the anticipation that it will be read by audience. This approach involves consideration for clarity in judgment and the effective communication of idea to the intended reader. Next is speech ACT. Speech ACT and utterance that serves a function in communication. We perform speech ACT when we offer an apology, greeting, request, complaint, invitation, compliment, and or refusal. And the next slide is I'm trying to understand the various types of ACT. That sentence may perform. There are 3 levels of speech ACT. The first one is locutionary grammar, internal action like articulating a certain sound using a certain morpheme referring to a particular person. The second one is equalationary action of the communication like asserting a fact, asking a question, negotiating action, making a promise, or giving a warning. The third one is perlocutionary ACT, action which go beyond communication, like knowing, frightening, or tricking someone by what you tell them. And the last one is conclusion. Discourse analysis is valuable framework for studying language and communication. It allows us to explore the various functions of language, including conveying meaning, expressing thought and emotion, and influencing social interaction. Language can take different forms, such as spoken and written, each with its own characteristic and convention. By studying speech ACT, we can understand the intention and effect behind language use. Together, these 4 aspects provide a comprehensive understanding of how language is used, interpret, and impact communication in different contexts. Discourse analysis helps us uncover the nuances and complexities of language, allowing us to better understand and navigate the intricate world of human interaction. Okay guys, maybe that's all from my explanation. I'm sorry for my mistakes. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.